You want to play some... You want to go talk about this with some ducks? Let's do that. Let's go hang out with some ducks. Let's go to the pool. Okay, so friends, if this was E3, after a hard day of having our fucking psyches shattered by bizarre nonsense, we would go to the old Figuretto, which, as I found out this week, is actually what Fig, the investment team, was named after. So we can't go to the Figuretto because we're not in LA, but we can go to the pool. Also, I managed to sell some Steam cards over the last couple of weeks. So I had $2.28 on my account. So I did get the new Plastic Duck DLC. Oh, hang on. How do I think I can load game, can't I? Oh, yeah. Resume. So this was our previous pool. Okay. So, everybody, let's all take a breath. And out. There will be new ducks, yes. Oh, God. Nick says the Volvi plushies are already sold out. Introducing the Duck Storm. Okay. Hang on, let's sit in the lounger for a sec. Alright. Friends, video game enthusiasts, numpties. So, let's not talk about Volvi for a second. So, what did you see today? What did you enjoy? What are you excited for? Day of the Devs kind of left me a bit snowblind for just how many fascinating and beautiful games were there. I'm genuinely excited to see how many of those and where they end up. Fred, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try. I don't think I have enough brain power for this. SquarePeg says they're excited for Haunty. That looked so beautiful. Nick's saying that Final Fantasy R2 is their top seed. Yeah, the one thing you can say about these Final Fantasy remakes is that they're being given the care and love that they deserve. And I'm really glad that Square Enix has just decided, you know what? People are going to buy these. They're going to have a good time.
Be fearful. Wick-wack for rubber duckies. Volvi is banished to the deepest parts of the Shadow Realm and Mr. Blobby is the guard and its jailer.
The darkness that even Blobby holds in check. Also, Lance, it did seem weird that the announcement said on 2 discs. It could be that they're getting out ahead of it. So something that could otherwise have been seen as a negative or a thing they'd have to explain, they just announce it now so that all the journos go, I'm sorry, you said on 2 discs. So that's 2 PS5 Blu-ray discs. But look at this value, it's got 2 discs. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty traditional PR move, right? Like, taking something that could be construed as a negative and turning it into the next, what is it, like, bump mesh. You know what I mean. The fake graphics thing they came up with back in the day. Earthman Dave's asking, how big are Blu-ray discs? God, I don't even remember off the top of my head. It's a fair few hundred gig, right? It's not quite a terabyte. Sailor was saying that we put it on disc so you don't have to download it, along with the gimmick of calling back to the PSX seemed like a solid marketing move. You know what? That does work. And you know what? I don't know if we saw any like huge, gigantic, bombastic announcements. But that does, like, we've still got other... Hang on, let me just... Where's my list? Lizzie added it to the pins. Okay. So, yeah, today was the triple threat. Games Fest, Day of the Devs, and Devolver Digital. Wholesome Direct is Saturday, as is the Future Gaming Show, and then Sunday's the quad. No, sorry, Sunday's the triple, but with the double stack. That's the Xbox Games Showcase, and Starfield, and the PC Gaming Show. Ubisoft's doing one on Monday, and I think that's kind of interesting because you would have thought that like Ubisoft would have like battled out the exclusives now, but okay. So it could be that like both the big, all three of the big E3 contenders, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, are kind of have either done their thing or are saving their things. So we might be seeing the big bombastic announcements on Sunday. I'm keeping an eye on the Kerbal space program. Also, if you haven't played Plastic Duck Simulator with us, 1, we will be coming up with pun names for ducks, which we much needed, and 2, we will be solving the puzzle behind that door. We just need Walt Duckening and the psychedelic duck. Squarepeck, I'm excited for Alan Wake 2. It was one we knew about. Though the trailer was Alan Wake, the sequel, which is fine. Nothing about it made me go, oh fuck. And it's going to be interesting to see where it goes because like Alan Wake's visual and storytelling beats were very, very evocative of Twin Peaks, right? Lance, the pink duck is nameless, but I want to talk video gamey stuff before we get into duck naming. I'm just trying to absorb it all at once, but it's very difficult to do, you know? Oh. Quackinster. Okay. Oh, sorry. And I do want to say, sorry there, and everybody that was throwing through bit comments throughout. Fecking thank you, you legends. I'm just trying to keep an eye on Kerbal space program because last time we missed it when it set off. Yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to think of what were my big uns. Now I will say that Devolver's showcase was surprisingly light. Like, to my knowledge, there wasn't anything we didn't previously know about announced for Devolver, right? Because we knew about Wizard with a Gun. We knew about... Oh, no, the Bennett 41. That was new. The Q-Op, but Bennett. Oh, Artie Poe. Go get some sleep. Baby Steps. That looked very good. Because the one thing that we know from Bennett's work is, or like work that Bennett is involved with, he's not the only dev on that, obviously, but, you know, using frustration to tell a story. Like, I did like the little pile of rocks placed exactly where the user has to go. And we know what users are like. They get mischievous, they kick things over, and then having the game react to that in a funny way. Yeah, except for Hayshift, instead of climbing over the poetic idea of a mountain, we're going to be climbing out of depression with Bennett Foddy. Getting over your bad times with Bennett Foddy. Yeah. Honestly, Mateus, if I had the cash and the pre-planning, I'd get like a fucking mojito right now. Oh, yes, J-Post! John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. I am looking forward to playing that with you all. I don't know if it's going to be exceptional. I don't know if it's going to be brilliant. But what if Back for Blood, but having more fun? Like, sign me up. Like, we had fun as a squad playing Back for Blood, but the world of Back for Blood was not a fun one. This one seems brilliant. Although, I do worry that Toxic Commando might be taken. Like, don't quote me on that one, but, like... Oh, tell me that didn't get put out. Nah, you're still going. We'll just follow Kerbill's space program round. But yeah, John Carpenter's Toxic Commando looked really, really good. Again, it's not the first time John Carpenter has been attached to a video game, and sometimes it's been in very, very tangential ways. And they're probably just using his name to sell this. But it looked dumb and fun. Like, when it started off with, like, the gruff characters in the car, I was like, ugh, I couldn't care less. And by the end of it, just having fun with it, you know? We've talked a lot about Back 4 Blood because of how much the Longship played it, but Back 4 Blood wasn't so serious that you could enjoy the parody of it. And it wasn't fun enough that you could take enjoyment in the characters. So Ozymandias, to my understanding, Like a Dragon, the Man with No Name, or The Man Who Gave Up His Name, that isn't an existing Yakuza spin-off. Not like the newest Boshin era one. Yeah, Lance. Clive Barker's Jericho by Clive Barker. That's a joke that I stole. And so I will say, Hey Shift, it's entirely fine to be skeptical of Pal World. I actually think Pal World's gonna be a mess because there's too many complicated systems all that are all going to be kind of fighting each other. And we've seen other games like it that have tried to have the crafting, the automation, the gameplay, and the multiplayer all mashed together. And it's not impossible, but to make it stable, it's very difficult, you know? It's like how Atlas, the other game by Arc, technically lets you do a bunch of things, but it's very, very janky. I think this isn't the same kind of breadth. But again, seeing a Lapras equipped with a bunch of like surface-to-air missiles wasn't a thing I thought I'd see. I would not be surprised if Nintendo start ringing the legal bell, because a couple of those designs were only a gnat's tit away from like just a straight-up copy. And yeah, Nintendo are kind of the House of Mouse of video games, in which one does not fucketh. What else did we see today? God, sorry, it's all a bit of a blur. Oh, Sandland! Yeah, the Akira Toriyama setup. I think that is going to be very fun, but very low budget. Yeah, okay, let me find that fucking tank game. Because it reminded me of, it's like Max... Metal Max Zeno Reborn. Like, have a look at this title, friends. Because that gave me... It gave me really big vibes of that one. You know, group of friends, custom vehicles, flying around. I'm driving around, like, sandy environment. Oh, jumping back, so, Salin. So, Pal World's being put together by a Chinese company. That might be why they're playing fast and loose with, like, aesthetics and designs. Well, Lance, I'm not trying to dampen your enthusiasm, but let us remember that when it comes to, like, manga creators being involved in video games, their name sadly does not guarantee quality. Now, an Akira Toriyama Mad Max series, sign me up. But a game, like... Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to poo-poo it. It's just more like... I'm trying to... I guess I'm trying to manage my own expectations. Because if we go in expecting it to be a cheap title, and it surprises us by being like, what if Wild Arms 3 but better? Like, that sounds great. But if we start looking at it as like a Ni no Kuni quality title, I don't think that's what we're going to get. And, or at least from what I could glean from the trailer, you know? I'd say the biggest stinker of the day was the Not Eternals. Which I've already forgot the name of. What did I call it? It was like Boring in Gold or something along those lines. Like... Oh, yeah, and Arthur! Yeah, that one was fucking trash tier. Like, I'm not against Mobley Games being in these spaces. Like, Honkai Star Rail owned its slot. Bluey, Watto, and welcome. We're just talking about everything that got announced at Summer Games Fest today. Well, Summer Games Fest, Day of the Devs, and then Devolver. So we're having a little, like, you know, beachside wind down. You know, if we were at E3 and we'd just done Fire Day and all the press conferences, like, we'd all go back to the pool, get a drink, and talk. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, Lagmeister, I really wish I hadn't... That twist... Actually, you know what? We're just going to wizard fucking veto the Twisted Metal trailer. Well, that was uncomfortable on a level that I do not want to break down. But it's a TV show, so we don't. Oh, Bluey bought wine! Oh, shit. You got any spare? You wanna just grab us a quick wine? I don't have to be up too early tomorrow, so I can drink. Asari's got cake, so basically we could just do a drunken potluck. This would be great. Oh, Bluey, thank you kindly. I'll get my fancy cup. Yeah, Moose, that's what I think that's why this is such an interesting thing. So, like, with the indie games, like, I stop and I think about it, and I can recall so many of them. Like that beautiful game about somebody packing up their childhood bedroom before they move out home. Like, that was beautiful. It evoked so many great pieces of so many great indie bangers together. I know, Fearless, you're batting to a human level I am not ready to step to, but I appreciate. So Lagmeister on the 2, I think the Prince of Persia title's going to be great. It really feels like someone internally at whatever Ubisoft team is doing that went, look, this is what Riot is doing with all of their side titles and with Arcane. This is how they're evolving their style. Let me do this with Prince of Persia, and they got the go-ahead. Like, the animations look crisp. It looked like a really fun, like, 2D brawler. And, yeah, again, the character designs were super fresh. So, like, sign me up for that. The Sonic game looks like... It looks like it's going to be one of the stinkers, I'm afraid. As soon as I saw it, my brain immediately went, oh, fuck, it's Sonic 4 again. And if you haven't played Sonic 4, don't. Just fucking leave it alone. And I say this as someone who worked under the waggling finger of Uncle Sonic. What's at J-Post, I actually feel like... This is what's so frustrating. There's so much that can be done with Sonic. We saw with Sonic Mania that the core formula slaps. It's still good. But for some fucking reason, they can't seem to leave... They can't seem to just nail it down. Sorry. I get frustrated. I guess I am still like a Sonic fan at heart, you know? God. But no, like, Moose, again, with some of the naming conventions of stuff, well, no, and Fearless, I don't think that Sonic Mania is great if you love the classic Sonic games. Sonic Mania is a brilliant game. mainly because it takes the ideas, especially that Sonic 2 set forth, which is you have a stage in 2 acts. In Act 1, you get the user used to the new environment and the new challenges. In Act 2, you experiment with those new elements. And Sonic Mania understood that so well. So again, first part, great. Second part, remix. And Moose, yeah, the 2D sides of Sonic Generations were good. And, like, the 3D segments weren't awful. Like, they didn't... Oh, beans. Oh, well. Kerbill's wick went out. Let's get back in the deck chair. Oh yeah, Fearless, that's a better way of putting it, yeah. If you understand the Sonic games, Mania is even better because you understand what they're doing with the format. But, yeah, you know that, sorry. I will admit, I've not put super duper hours into Frontier, so I don't know. Oh, I need a couple of duck names. So I need one for this lightning duck here, one for cactus duck, and... Oh, should we just call this one spider duck and be done with it? Spyduck? Oh, Lancer says, keep an eye on Kerbill. Takes off when it's fully night. Okay. Peter Quacker's pretty good. Void Duck's alright. Quackanista. Oh, Ziggy Starduck. Can anyone top Ziggy Starduck? Fuck, that's a good one. Fuck a duck. May come later. Again, we're waiting for Walt Quackney. Walt Duckney, sorry. The Cactus Duck and Spider Duck. Duck the Police. Wait, did we do Duck the Police already? Well, I tell you what. So, like, sorry, you definitely put in for Quackanista. So we'll put that in for our little teal duck here. Sorry, I interrupt this video game discussion to bring you a fuckload of ducks. Okay, Duck the Police is going to be our cactus. Because we avoid them. And Peter Quacker's not bad. I think we can do better with this one. Good point, Lizzie. Good point. Anyway, Cyberduck 2077. Oh. Ducky Silverhand. Duck Cloud. And Nick, this is just the music from Plastic Duck Simulator. And 3 new special ducks. Ducky Mnemonic. Done. Thank you, Mateus. Yeah, it's a cyberpunk duck. It's Ducky Mnemonic. The lawnmower duck. Alright, anyway. Oh yeah, we're sticking with Kerbill's base program as it gets to the duck. Night Quack Fool. Okay. So yeah, so we saw a fair bit of banality today. I was hoping for some proper good announcements, but like Mortal Kombat 1 did not disappoint. Alan Wake 2 did not disappoint. For Spider-Man 2, I kind of found myself going, alright. Like, turning around and going, hey, and the big announcement is Spider-Duck 2 will feature Venom! And we're all like, yeah, we saw the symbiote on the cover, and on the concept art, and on the fact that, whee! Get fucked! Good times. Hey Shift, we did see Space Marine 2, but to be honest, like, most of Space Marine 2 stuff was recycled footage, except for a couple of the co-op shots. So really, the news today was like Space Marine 2, kill Xenos with your friends, but not that kill Xenos with your friends, the other kill Xenos with your friends. Yes, Ozzy, they have to go now. Their home planet needs them. How do I feel about the Great Duckpression? If we get like a Monopoly Man duck, that's what we're going to call it. Trog Duck the Burdinator. Jack Quack is repeatedly on fire. Oh. No, seriously, shout out to Nick Cage for being incredibly genuine and an incredibly wonderful force of nature. Honestly, the guy who showed up in that last Gold But Bland, poor bastard. Like, I guess he's supposed to be an actor or a known performer, but like, even if I'd known who he was, he's not Nick fucking Cage. Like, at least Keanu had the decency to be one of the last things that happened in that Microsoft presser. Now, hey Shift, do you mean Nick didn't want to stop speaking, or the bland guy? Get ducked. Thank you, Loudmeister. Yeah, hey Shift, it genuinely feels like Nick could have stayed there a whole bunch. Ah, never change Disco Duck. Yeah, pacing and tone was definitely an issue from the start, and Paradox was doing things so quickly I couldn't, like, keep an eye on it. There's a small chance today that they announced Stellaris but Star Trek. But I'm not sure because everything happened so quickly. It wasn't really fucking explained. And the only thing we got was a bit of a shot of like, I don't know if it was the Enterprise, but one of the Enterprise-esque Star Trek era ships. And then the zoom out, which showed like the Stellaris, like Empire's map, that made me go, huh. No news about Bloodlines 2 yet. Okay, so Nick's saying it looked like the Battle of Wolf 359, and nothing bad happened in that fight. Stares at Cisco. Oh, and Varbles is pointing out that it's Paradox published, not Paradox Dev Studios. Friend, right now, I do not know what the fucking structure is with Paradox, like, in-house. Because apparently, we're still getting... Oh, ducks from aliens. Cool. Oh, Quack 3 Arena's back. I guess they, Oh, yes, we're getting Bloodline 2 news in September. Okay. Varble says they did have to put out a tweet the Star Trek thing wasn't a mobile game. Okay, so Varbles, what do we know about that Star Trek game? Because more details on the 16th. Oh, that's several days away. That's a number of days away. I am glad it's not a mobile game, because it did look like they announced Stellaris for mobile, which could be fun. Lance, sadly no, Quack 3 Arena does not have news on the door code. We need Walt Duckening and the Psychedelic Duck to get through the door. So that's what we're also waiting for here. Okay, so Varbles is saying, all we know is that behind the Star Trek game, it's the developers that did the Masters of Orion reboot and some shooters. Details on Picard Day is all we really know. Okay. I mean, we've talked about this a lot on stream, that Star Trek as a franchise, despite being world known, is still incredibly underserviced in video games. So... Duck the Rock Johnson. What's up, buddy?
January 10th, 1992. A container ship traveling from Hong Kong to Tacoma, Washington, loses 12 containers overboard. One of them sets loose thousands of tiny yellow ducks.
Hey, Flowers, I'm sorry you've been going through a hard time. Like, if I had stupid money, I would have flown us all out to an actual place with an actual pool, so we could have actual cocktails and talk about this. But this is the best I can do. A bunch of ducks, Cleoductra. A bunch of ducks, a pond, no mojitos though. Now, Lagmeister, that's actually a great idea. Especially if you did it in like that lower decks aesthetic. Lagmeister suggesting that they want a roguelike game. It's a Star Trek game where you play a red shirt. That does sound like a lot of fun. Man, the party's down here. A Star Trek XCOM style game? Fuck yes. I mean, again, Pulsar exists, friends. You can play that. And I think that's still on sale, right? What's up, Handball? Nah, sadly, friends, the multiplayer bundle is gone. You can still get the Rain World and Hollow Knight bundle if you want it. And there's also a Boyfriend Dungeon, Celeste, Super Lesbian Animal RPG, Later Gators, Bad End Theater, and Get in the Car Loser combo for $12, just in case you need more games from Humble. But, like, you don't need me to tell you anything about any of those games. But yeah, I really feel like we don't get the level of content that Star Trek should be getting, considering how massive it is, right? Alright, let me go back to my lounger. So I tell you what, friends, we're hitting the 4.5 hour mark. I'm gonna nip to the loo, and then let's have a little bit more of a chat. So take a breath, take a beat, go fix yourself a drink or what have you, and then let's have a think about the titles that were announced today. I'll see if there's some articles out there that go through everything, and then we'll go through the list. All right, so we'll do like a fancy recap. So I'll be back with you in just a second, friends.
meteorale. Previsioni del tempo sull'Italia per domani. Al nord generalmente poco nuvoloso, salvo locali aumenti della nuvolosità sull'arco alpino, dove non si escludono locali piovaschi. Jadu Mandar, Jadu Mandar, Jadu Mandar. You are going into the future.
Oh. Sorry about the wait, friends. I had to grab myself some more water and realise how parched I was after talking and also mildly screaming. So I found a good old rundown of everything that we got announced today. So I'm not actually going to bring up any assets for this, alright? One, because if they have the time, Skadi said they might be able to cut this part separate from the rest, so that we can have the continuation of the Plastic Duck Simulator series. But okay, so this is the list of stuff that was from the original Summer Games Fest before Day of the Dev. So we had Mortal Kombat 1. We've talked about this. I don't think there's anything really to add. It seems like it's taking all the best bits of what they've been working over the past decade and then blending them together. Sounds good. Made me feel things for people's rib cages. So next up, Alan Wake 2. We talked about that one. I don't think there's anything to add. Final Fantasy Rebirth. It's very happening. I quickly looked at social media and everyone is ripping the piss on the whole two ducks thing. Marvel Spider-Man 2. We talked about that one. The Final Fantasy Ever Crisis. The different Final Fantasy mobile games have been varying in quality, let's say that. That's my polite review, and I'm going to say no more. Okay, so this is where we got interesting. So, the Banishers game, the Black Powder Witcher game with the ghost that was kind of like, what if Lady Hawk but spooky? Turns out that's actually being made by the same team that did Life is Strange. So expect the interpersonal to genuinely have some weight to it. Not just, use your ghost power to unlock super ghost mode for ghost punching. Oh yeah, so Sturdy Kiwi, we got a shonking great big trailer. We got, I believe, a release date, and the announcement that it was going to come on 2 discs. Okay, so a little bit more information. So, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, is a brand new Yakuza game, but it's specifically set between Yakuza 6 and Like a Dragon 8. And it's basically about what happened to Kazuma when he kind of dropped off the face of the earth. So, then there was Under the Waves. That was the guy who lives alone in a submarine, looking stuff up, that had that had that kind of like surrealist elements to it. Gene swimming, that's still so good. It's probably going to shit me up sideways, but there was something about it I found really intriguing. Sandland, we talked about, that was Akira Toriyama's like tanks and mechs in a Mad Max environment. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. Oh yeah, fucking Path of Exile 2 with one of the worst trailers of the day. Like, if you didn't see it, it was one character using ice magic to kite a bunch of enemies and doing fuck and all, followed by the most overly ostentatious trailer of all time. And it was like, who is this for? Hang on, let me get my lounger back. Yeah, Amos knows as well. It was a terrible fucking trailer. The big standout moment today, obviously, Nick Cage, Dead by Daylight. And the idea that Nick Cage is playing Nick Cage, who thinks he's in a horror movie. I thought that was a wonderful little, like, meta twist. Witcher Season 3. More on Witchfire. But The Witcher and Witchfire back-to-back does add for some linguistic gymnastics. Ooh! Yes, Your Grace, Snowfall, which I'm not entirely sure if it's an expansion or a sequel, but interesting, I could say that. Yeah, so Lance, I do think the Path of Exile team did not take into consideration the fact that Diablo 4 has just dropped, and that a little snippet of like early badly played gameplay and an ostentatious titles card was not going to cut it. Like, I have no doubt that Path of Exile 2 is going to be a good game, but we can appreciate the craft and art when it comes to trailers, and that was neither craft nor art. That was bad. Honestly, yeah, it felt like someone rushing their homework to get it done in time. If I were them, I would have just gone, nah, fuck it, and done an announcement, like, in the winter. Like, they gained nothing from today. But yeah. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. Like, OTT, Evil Dead, fun vibes. God. I mean, we all started singing along when they did the drop. It wasn't a fucking mournful cover of a classic song. Nah, they brought the cheese. And I really appreciated that. Baldur's Gate 3. Now, quick show of hands. Who of you here knew who Jason Isaacs was before? Because if I did, I was completely blanking on it. I mean, whoever he was, you'll probably mention a role he's played and I'll recognize it, but he was doing an excellent job. Oh, Malfoy's dad. Okay, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, he's an incredible actor. He's been in so many things. And he was doing an incredible job with whatever character he was playing. I don't know. It felt like we were getting a great big announcement. Is that hovercraft? It felt like we were getting a great big announcement, and then we weren't shown his face or any like conversations with him. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3 is incredible. It's going to be one of the great games of our time. I'm waiting till it's completely content complete before I put a team together for it, you know? Pal World, we have discussed enough. Pal World is the Pokemon Gun sweatshop. Okay, so here's some more information on Stellaris Nexus. Toot toot! Can we click on it? No. So, Stellaris Nexus is meant to be a quick-fire accessible variant. So, basically, think Stellaris meets Armello. And I quote, it's designed to be played in no more than 1 hour intervals. So it's condensed. Yeah, it's condensed 6-player Stellaris. It didn't say anything about it being for mobile, but I don't think that's a horrible thing. See, Stellaris is interesting, but honestly, unless you really tweak the format or want to fall out with people, most Stellaris games turn into like mass-scale co-op. That's great. That's fine. I love that. I love Stellaris. You know, Caffeine has been intermittently running New Year, New Galaxy. So if you want to have a quick burst of Stellaris every now and then, I'll find out when the next one is. Like, but this seems more set for something that you could play in a versus environment because it's short burst, you know? Okay. Oh shit, yeah. This is one of the problems with these, is that sometimes the good ones get lost. So, Lustfanger, the Time Shift Warrior, the one where you basically play multiple rounds of Hades with yourself, and each of your previous attempts is a shadow clone that's going through. So you can basically Super Meat Boy your way into hell. I thought that was really fresh, thought it was really interesting. Fuck yeah. Oh yeah, no, and a shout out to ProZD doing a great variation of his bit. But for Marvel Snap, I thought that was genuinely funny. Once again, ProZD from the made famous by their role in The Unavowed. And whether this was intentional or not, the fact that we got the Fortnite Wilds Transformers crossover announcement right after one of the blandest games I've seen in years. You know what? I was happy to see it. I saw a bunch of fun characters riding dinosaurs and talking to Optimus motherfucking Prime. Like, that's all the kind of shit Tiny Will would have thought was the coolest. And, like, the fact that, like, you meet, like, ancient Optimus Prime, who either shrinks himself down or gives you a tiny Optimus to fight alongside you. I don't know which. It doesn't matter. Like, Batman, Goku, Optimus Prime, and fucking Ryu from Street Fighter can now all hang out in a squad. What's not to like? Yeah, alright, the big stinky fart of today. The big, like, who let one rip in the auditorium. Immortals of Avium. The pitch sounded like somebody who's done 3 fat lines in the toilets telling me about their game idea. It looked like the most uninspired banal of Marvel's gold era, and I've never been bored by a giant robot doing giant robot things before. Like, and because of like the budget and facial capture, it's not a cheap project. It is a AAA FPS. I'm disappointed by it in ways that I'm struggling to put into words. It's the example of the kind of thing that I tend to rile against. Yeah, Mateus, I didn't think I'd see the day either. Space Trash Scavenger, that's pre-announced. We saw that very, very briefly. And we still don't know a lot about Star Trek Infinite, as we were talking about earlier. That was the one that showed the Wolf-Borg battle. But it's, as everybody's saying, it's fairly safe to say it's going to be a strategic game, just because it had the exact same Empire's map as Stellaris. Oh shit, Fae Farm! That nearly disappeared into nowhere. That was the cute, like, 3D Stardew with friends, but you go into, like, the Fae realm. But not like Dresden Fae, but like cutie patootie, like adorable kids Fae kind of thing. It looked like a great game that our whole family could play and not be bored to tears. Marvel Snap we talked about. Oh god! Okay, on the subject of banality, Wayfinder. Apparently Wayfinder's an MMO? Like, shrug question mark? That was the one that was like, everything was tinged purple. And it kind of looked like, well, literally like everything else. Ozzy, what was Wayfinder? I'm specifically explaining this without showing you to see if it even pulls a memory. Bunch of warriors leaping back up. They had a very, like, post-League of Legends vibe to them. Greylark says, you can Jedi mind trick the duckies. These are not the ducks you're looking for. Now, we're waiting for 2 specific ducks so we can get into the secret duck room, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Black Desert Online, blah, blah, blah. Arthur. Okay, it was called King Arthur Legends Rise. It was made by Bloody Netmarble. And honestly, I was annoyed it existed. Lance, Keely doing the bait and switch for a DoorDash ad was the funny... That was the funny gaffe of the night. Space Marine 2. I don't even... Which one? Was Throne and Liberty? Was that the what if we made chivalry but not fun? Moose, I'm going through as we're talking. No, shit, so... Okay, like I said, we're in this, like, block of nonsense. So, Throne and Liberty, I couldn't even remember which one that fucking was. The one I was talking about was Warhaven, which was what if chivalry wasn't fun. Followed, remember the Crash Team Rumble right off the back of Dying Light? I'm sure Crash Team Rumble will be fun. Oh, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe they can't recapture the magic. But it was just, it came right after an advert for Dying Light and confused the shit out of me. Oh, Throne of Liberty was the MMO that Amazon was trying to make. We turned into, well, where you could turn into a bird, but it was clearly a bespoke animation, so who fucking knows? Sorry, what I mean by that is, in a game like Divinity 2 Dragon Knight Saga, the player leaps into the air and turns into a dragon. Because you can do that anywhere, that is an anim that's used repeatedly. When I say bespoke anim, I mean that for that trailer, someone created a unique animation to simulate what it will be like when it actually happens in-game later. So, yeah. Lance, I agree with you that something probably went wrong there, but... Honkai Star Rail with some cool characters. Remnant 2, fair. Sonic, sad times, bad times. Not even talk about COD. Liza P, we don't need to cover. Apparently the demo's very good. Oh god, and the Exoprimal X Street Fighter 6 I thought was wild. Now, to my knowledge, Exoprimal hasn't been released. And there's something about announcing brand crossovers before a game has been released that really makes me go, where? There's this thing in certain movie franchises where they'll sell they'll aggressively sell their toy licensing and crossover branding before the film has come out to try and squeeze money out of a brand before it ends up being a stinker. And this kind of feels like that in the strangest of ways. Oh, there we go. I was like, where the fucking water gone? But yeah, it had Robo Ryo and like Mecha Guile and stuff like that. And I'm like, Exoprimal looks... I am blessed by the gods with a fancy soda. Thank you. I got fancy soda. I got fancy soda. But yeah. If you ever wondered why Eternals, the Marvel film, had so many toys and Lego sets and crossovers, like immediately at launch, it's because when they feel like a brand isn't going to succeed, they aggressively sell the license early and try and make it seem like it's going to be a winner. They did the same thing with the like Suicide Squad and stuff like that, and it feels like that. Oh, am I a fancy lad today? Oh, lovely. Oh, okay. Sadlin, I didn't even twig that because I was so confused by it, but you're right. It looks like there'll be a Mecha Ryu skin and a Mecha Guile skin for Street Fighter 6. Like, I'm not offended. That is not everything from today. I'm trying to find a comprehensive list of like what was announced during like Summer Games Fest, and because I feel like there's more there to Summer Games Fest we didn't discuss. Now, Day of the Devs was hit after hit after hit, but I can't find a. Oh, this might be it. I think I've found the Day of the Devs list. Now, this was bangers. So, for those of you that are Steam wishlist inclined, buckle up for bulking up, because I've got bangers. Okay, so first up we had Beastie Ball, which, despite it making me want to say the Beastie Boys every time, looked great. A cute Pokemon, like, volleyball game, where it's about all your little Pokemons making friends. Who doesn't fucking want that? Hyperlight Breaker, we got some more info on that. The sequel to Hyperlight Drifter. Hyperlight Breaker did throw a lot of buzzwords at us. You know, like, it's roguelike, but it's open world. It's never the same planet twice. And I was like, you already made Hyperlight Drifter. You don't have to buzzword bingo me. You're already a winner. You know? It kind of felt like someone aggressively trying to sell me a pizza when I'm already in the store to buy one, you know? Occult, how indicted are we talking? How indicted are we talking? Sorry, I know we don't do IRL politics very often. But, you know, if you couldn't tell by the fucking pride flag behind me. And Rolling Thundaga, Watto and welcome. Oh yeah, see, Sage, have you played through Hyperlight Drifter? I don't know if it's a good stream game, but it's a great game. And Lance, sorry, jumping back, you're right. Ryu did punch a T-Rex, and that felt good. Sorry, we take a break from these indie games to find out whether or not... Oh! Okay, so, So, Nick, I'm not going to celebrate yet. As a British person, we have this eternal curse that as soon as we start supporting something directly, we're likely to jinx it, which is like any British sports team. You know, it's the curse of, come on, Tim! So, I'm not going to get excited, but... Okay, Salen's saying, Chief of Staff took a lesser charges of guilty plea, not even immunity. Okay. So, I'm not going to get my hopes up, because I don't want to jinx it for us all. So, we're going to go back to indie games, but... Right, friends, I might break my new no midweek drinking rule, if that is the case. Anyway, okay, so back to the indie games. Highlight Breakers, cool. Sage Bells... Oh, you're doing Tell Me Why next. That is beautiful, but... Brace yourself, because Tell Me Why has just exceptional feels. Okay. So, continuing on. Ah, okay, simpler times. Simpler times was kind of the packing your stuff away in your childhood room before you move out of your childhood home. And, like, a game about taking time to appreciate, like, the little things that come together to make you you. So a little bit of, oh, I hate that I'm blanking on the name of the game, where you go around a small seaside town and you fix people's, like, cameras and ovens and things like that. Have you checked your duck hole? Fuck, I hope that fits. Alright. Sorry, let me add that in whilst we're chatting on the collection. Alright, so what have we got? We've got another marbly duck. We've got... Alright, where's the porcelain duck? Oh yeah, and we've got this one here. So that one's pretty dull, so if it fits... Yeah, have you checked your duck hole? And what's the... Oh no, it just says, have you checked your duck? Sorry. Yeah, Fred, that's also a very, very good point. So, that's something we'll come back to. Sage, I don't think there's a Quackington. And I think that that adorable blue, that gives me Paddington vibes. You know, that's some peak puddle duck right there. Quack burst. Not bad. Anyway, whilst we're coming up with duck names, let's go back to the list. Yeah, Simpler Times doesn't need anyone. It doesn't need anyone to pitch it. It's gorgeous. It knows what it's being. Same with Viewfinder. Viewfinder is the one where you take a Polaroid and then you angle it so that it changes the world. I mean, it's also worth noting, Viewfinder has been in development for a long time. So, and Haunty we've talked about a lot. That stood out as a lot of people's absolute banger. Cart Life getting re-released had been announced earlier in the year, but it was glad to see some more details on it. Hellscape. I think the only good thing anybody had to say about Hellscape was Sage Bell talking about the Hot Lady. I think that was the only comment that people had. Hellscape looks like a team's very, very first game. It has, on first glance, it has a mishmash of elements that don't really seem to fit. It has a lot of enthusiasm, but no experience. So, I'm not hopeful for it. I'm glad it exists. But when you look at, like, Skate Frog and things like that, I can go for crack busting. Done. A Tony Hawk roguelike. I am not confident in that team. But they've definitely got heart. They've definitely got heart. Henry Halfhead is going to be a game to get incredibly high to and laugh your ass off. That was the you can possess literally anything as a little face, and I thought that was very, very good. Like, I love the fact that a game like that in single player is a cute, fun puzzle game that tells a story. Playing that in two player, I'm not going to call it cooperative, turns it into a fucking fight game. Like, I know if I played that with Fiona for a day, Fiona would punch me. The severity and impact of said punch is variable, but I would get hit. Will I lose teeth? Who knows? Oh, and Cocoon made me fucking freak out a little bit about the size and scale of the universe. I'd like to thank Cocoon for being a much better concept than Marvel's Quantumania. That was the title where it's all worlds within spheres, and you kind of go in and out of the size of the universes within universes. I'm pretty sure the DLC will just be the time knife. Oh, the at first pretentious but kind of charming. I can't even pronounce it. It's Ete. Or it's like that was the one where you are on holiday in Montreal, and you slowly add color to this small little town. But each thing that you color in, you can then recreate. You can then pose and repost in your own paintings in your little like hotel. I thought that was such a cute concept. Like, I genuinely think that's going to be lovely, and it takes a lot more of... it takes a lot more of the things that I wanted from like Unfinished Swan and stuff like that. Do you know what I'm not fucking seeing here? Do you know what I'm not fucking seeing on any of these lists? It's the fucking Lord of the Rings and like the retaking of Moira or whatever. Rock and Stone. That looked fucking brilliant. That looked absolutely fucking inspired. Yeah, me too. I'm going to play so much of that. Well, no, it's Sagebro. It's interesting because I'm scrolling through some of the hot lists, but it's not popping up. I realized from its absence. Oh yeah, Summerhill was the sheep herding game. Eternites was the Doki Doki Persona 5. Retro Gadgets we knew, but that's like if you enjoy Zachtronics games, you don't need to be sold on that one. First Moon Logistics was the fun done robots on Mars, which Mars Stranding, I believe one of you called it, and I think that was the best descriptor. Salty Chronicles, from the peeps that did Mutazone. I'm fucking trying to forget that we fell in love with Volvi. I'm fucking trying. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Baby Steps because, one, I absolutely love those kind of challenge games that do more than just be obnoxious. And it looks like it's got a really good, like, Auntie Donna's style sense of humor, and I'm for that. Okay, so friends, what have we missed? What have I not mentioned? I don't want to talk about Volvi. I don't want to talk about Volvi. I will say, for the Devolver lineup that we've seen in the past, that was one of the weaker ones. Like, don't get me wrong. It was very funny. I had a lot of fun. And the faux interview at the beginning was fucking brilliant. But, I don't know. If we had to rank it on the Devolver Digital scale, it's a solid 7 out of 10. Honestly, the bit that cracked me up was us all predicting the Volvi jokes, and then they happened, and they were so funny. I've got an earache, and I don't care! Volvi's cigarette heist. Spray painting the word sex on a wall. Oh, Sage and Fred. We talked about it briefly, but yeah. Time Shift Hades. That's so good. I mean, I already love time fuckery in video games. Super Time Force is one of my favorites. And that one had Paradox clones in it. Oh, if you never played Super Time Force, it's the same premise. But each time you restart the time loop, you're kind of lapping all your characters. But if you save your future self from death, then you create a paradox, which isn't a bad thing, but is actually a power-up. And I love that. But yeah, the Leisfnagner was definitely some anti-dyslexic nonsense. But the Time Warrior does look very, very good. And what was really interesting was seeing like the different builds all being utilized. God, I know there's other things we've seen today. I'm checking all of the varying hot sheets for some of the good tasty info. Oh yes, we did see the announcement of a Shadows of the Damned remaster. Now, I'm not saying that Shadows of the Damned is a masterpiece of video games that you must play or be damned. But if you want a really good example of making something impactful on a budget that sells, Shadows of the Damned has a very tight, very simple control scheme and combat system. It's all about heading to the next area to light the beacon so that the darkness doesn't burn away your soul. And the idea is like demons are infinitely healing so long as they're in darkness. So you have to lure them out. But in terms of like the characters and the story and how it unfolds, it's surprisingly thought out. It's surprisingly complex in terms of its character emotions. And it flips the script on you multiple times. But it's genuinely worth your time. I wouldn't say it's necessarily good. And the number of penis jokes per... like, the dick jokes per minute is very, very high. Lagmeister, the animal sports game, that was the volleyball. Not volleyball, before any of you bloody say it. God, criminals.
Il calcare graffia e graffio dopo graffio rovina il tuo bucato, come rovina la lavatrice.
Morbido, è nuovo? No, lavato con
Apparently there's an Annapurna showcase now? God. So, friends, one of the things about sitting by the Digi pool here is it is giving me E3 flashbacks, because I'm finding out about shit at E3 that I don't know. Annapurna Interactive Showcase. Okay, sorry, the Annapurna Showcase will be on the 29th, not the 8th. My mistake, friends. So we're okay for the moment. It's possible there'll be more Outer Wilds, at least from what Annapurna is hinting, so that'd be cool. And possibly Skadi. Like, Annapurna were hinting at some additional stray content earlier today. Which, oh no, more cats, however will we cope? Oh, actually, Lance, that's a good point. If they're doing a Shadows of the Damned remaster, it does mean that Suda got the rights back from EA, which is really good. Okay. Like, I'm looking at my notes, I'm looking at the hot sheets. I think we're up to date here? Like, friends, I need you to know that, like, the last time I actually worked, like, an E3 show floor, on Fire Day, I was literally on my phone going through all the announcements and telling my friendos who were in the pool. Now, does anyone mind spoilers for the next two Persona games? Because someone mentioned this earlier on today, but I've got more of a concrete setup. But yeah, As of about like half an hour ago, it seems Atlas accidentally leaked their next 2 releases. Oh god. No, Lance, you're 100% right. Summer Games Fest was a summer sausage fest. You know what? And now I was thinking back to the crowd. I could spot one femme-presenting person in the crowd. Oh no. Oh no. Keely did a misogyny. Oh no. I'm laughing because it's not my problem. Yep, Fearless, at least Devolver didn't have that problem. And neither did Day of the Devs as well. It was really cool to see an industry friendo that I didn't know was going to be there. I'm definitely DMing them like after this. Oh, okay, so I got a bit more info. The, Yes, Your Grace, Snowfall is a sequel, not a DLC. Okay, I was right! Fuck yeah! 1 point to me! So, the Lord of the Rings Return to Moira was narrated by the same bloke who played Gimli. I was fucking right! Now, whether or not it's meant to be actually Gimli doing the voiceover or they just got him to do it, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, I was right. Give me a fucking... Oh, a fancy soda, which I already have. Summer... Sorry, I just keep thinking of Summer Games Fest, no girls allowed. Fucking yo. It was interesting that Keely's best friend in the whole wide world, Hideo Kojima, wasn't there. Yeah! 100 dwarf points to Will! Oh, it's our fancy PC duck is being delivered. Yeah, no, I'm kind of chuffed for that one. I'm just checking Rock, Paper, Shotgun, because if there was anything that we missed, they didn't. Okay, I'm not seeing anything specific, although, friends, Rock, Paper, Shotgun's Pal World is the off-brand Wooloos with fucking heavy machine guns just lined up. And I've been thinking about it, of what makes Pal World so weird, right? Because, to look at it, it is absolutely 100% the Pokemon aesthetic, right? And it's not just Pokemon with guns. It's Pokemon with highly detailed, semi-accurate firearms. Like, the Wooloos here are all firing like heavy machine guns. Like, someone who understands firearms better would be able to tell you if it's an accurate one. But it bloody looks it. Oh, and to those of you that play Marvel Snap, so apparently the thing they announced today, the Conquest mode, is essentially like a draft tournament, like a single knockout tourney that you can just sign up for on the quick. That seems really fucking cool. Right. And I think that brings us up to date. Oh, just as a quick question, if any of you have too much free time, the Pokemon TCG has just launched on PC. So, goodbye! Okay, yeah, no, that brings us up to date. So, was there anything that I was banting on that you'll want to go back to chat? Because on days like today, so much happens so quickly. Like, the next big day is going to be Sunday. I don't know if we'll be necessarily covering, like, the Wholesome Direct and stuff over the next couple of days. Because that's really just dependent on... dependent on whether or not I fucking exhaust myself. Because, okay, yeah, so tomorrow is the Accessibility Summer Showcase, which I believe is being hosted by Laura Kate Dale, who's a fucking ledge. However, that is at 8 o'clock in the morning. I love you all. But no, that's not happening. Like... Occult Game says, so the Dice Goddess has a game featured in Wholesome Direct. Ah, balls. Alright, what if I get up for Wholesome Direct and then go back to bed? Because that's Saturday morning. Well, okay, the Wholesome Direct is Saturday morning at 9 a.m., which isn't 8 a.m. It's also kind of a bit BS and chips that the Future PC Gaming Show is at 10 a.m. Sorry, no, the Future Game Show, not the PC Gaming Show. Those are two different events. So this is going to be a mess and a half. Oh, Scotty, that's mean. I would say that Feyworld feels like a game made for families where people actually cared. It wasn't just something they said after the fact because the art style was simplistic. Like, I could see, like, a complexity of, like, farming, along with some, like, adventure sections and some battle sections. Like, the kind of thing where the whole family could play together and everyone would be having fun in their own little spaces. In fact, Feyworld is one of the reasons why I can't hate on Summer Games Fest and things like that, because that's the kind of game that wouldn't really get a look in back in the day, you know? Especially not on what will end up being the most watched event. Like, I don't know what the viewership numbers will be when we get back, but I can tell you that on twitch.television, at about 7 minutes to kick off, when I decided to move over to YouTube where the stream was cleaner, there was close to 100,000 people watching. Lance, that's actually more doable than me getting up at 8 a.m. But yeah, so... yeah, Sunday morning's the big one, because that's the Xbox Future Game Show and the Starfield Showcase, followed by the PC Gaming Show. But I will say, the PC Gaming Show is usually a long, drawn-out slog, and whether or not the PC Gaming Show is good is a complete dice roll. Some years it's been the absolute banger of E3, and others it's been this long, truncated interview show. Although one year they gave Frankie a mech, which made me happy. And I cannot be hecked for the Ubisoft Forward on a Monday morning. But yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything we've really missed from today. Oh! And Bismarck, Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. Fancy soda is fancy. I mean, all in all, Still a very, very good day to be a fan of video games. And the Day of the Devs was perfect. Like, I know I joked a couple of times about, like, let's judge people's book collections, but even the most awkward people in Day of the Devs were personable. Like, I wanted to hear about their games. I could tell that they cared. Do you know what I mean? Isn't that right? Random plane! Games with souls, but not Soulsian games. That's very different. Let's see. It was really shocking to find out that nobody's approached Nicolas Cage to do video games in the past. Like, I don't know who's fucked up, but somebody's fucked up. Let me see. Honestly, friends, I think that's the long and short of it. If you've got any thoughts and feels, now's the time to chuck them on in. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry about that. Nick's saying they desperately need a good craft and survival game. What's the Victorian steampunk dimensional jumping one that kind of looks like the horror comic Manifest Destiny? Because that one I've been looking forward to. So Scotty, From doesn't ring a bell. Dr. Stone is very good for about a season and a half. Sadly, it doesn't maintain, but it's all right. Is it called Nightingale? Because that's the next Craft and Survive that isn't already out that I've been stalking. I do have a copy of Void Train now, but I'm worried about playing it too early. Yes, Nightingale. That one looks very interesting. Yeah, Greylark, we're doing a spot of debugging. You know how it is. But I haven't encountered any other like Craft and Survive that's really grabbed me. I was very kindly gifted a copy of Battle Grid, the Teamfight Tactics meets Vampire Survivors game, which is better than Insomnia, I'll say that. Not Duckening. Yeah, it's better, it's better. But yeah, so Greylark, we've just been going over the gaming news for today. There's been a lot of gaming news. And I'm just trying to think if we missed anything, you know? You know, today was strange. It was weird that it was all bangers off the bat. I was just trying to think, like, there weren't too many gaffes today, except for the Final Fantasy DoorDash Taco Bell. That was funny as hell. Let me see. Oh yeah, and Crash Team Racing bugging out and making it seem like a Dead by Daylight expansion pack. I will say everybody cheering for everything at the very start, and then when he said, and Fortnite Season 4! Season 6 or whatever, and the whole crowd just goes cricket silent. Like, I swear I heard someone just go in the background, you know what I mean? Oh, yes! J-Post, yeah. When Keighley asked one of the developers of Spider-Man 2 if Spider-Man 2 was going to release on time, and the dude looked at him like, I will fuck you up, Keighley! What the shit? That was funny as all hell. I don't know, Fred. I saw that guy's face, and that kind of panic is hard to fake. Lance, you are correct. One of the Jack Quack did just steal the flamingo. Yeah. It could have been that he flubbed the line, and the dev was confused, because he was expecting to be asked like, "All right, when is it launching?" And instead, the guy Keighley went, "Is it launching on time?" So it could have caused a divide by 0, but it still felt like a personal insult, you know? Like, oh yeah, so you're finally gonna launch your fucking game on time, Mr. Developer. I just came up here to promote Spider-Man. Why am I getting fucking grilled? Oh, if anyone can come up with a good anime duck name, this duck needs a name. Yeah, Fred, you're right. It could have been an ad-libbed, but Duck X Quackley is pretty good.
1992. A container ship traveling from Hong Kong to Tacoma, Washington, loses 12 containers overboard. One of them sets loose thousands of tiny yellow plastic ducks, herds of the North Pacific. The currents carry the ducks all over the world. So months later, they start washing up on the coast of Alaska, turning this toy spill into an accidental experiment. So from the Ducking study, you get real-time data about the currents in the North Pacific. The accidental duck experiment is still providing information today.
Amos, you're alright. I'm just sneezing. You're okay. You're okay. Nervy boy. Sorry about that. Deandre Quack-chan. Not bad. Sendaku Duck Uwaki. Oh, God, no! Reginald P. Quackers. That's okay. Animu Duck is not called Reginald P. Quackers. Look at that face. It's a good name. Sailor Mallard. See? There we go. Full rubber quackamist. Sailor Mallard, I think, has taken it. There we go. I'm just quickly seeing if anybody else needs a duck name. Okay. Let us resume. Go on. You're alright, mate. Apparently my sneezing disturbed the dag. Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about before Amos was panicked by my achus? Sendaku Jedi. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, hopefully we'll get some more Animu ducks. Oh, yeah, sorry, jumping back. So Scotty, I think Miles Morales was a yeah, I think Miles Morales was a launch title for the PS5 or close to. Like, I'm pretty sure it was one, yeah?
Amos, no.
Baby boy.
Come here. Come here.
Oh, Was there one unnamed, Scotty? Top middle. Oh, there's a bumblebee duck. Make sure there aren't any more. Okay, so we either need a bee pun or a duck pun. Oh, aqua hibiscus, like big same. But yeah, currently we're waiting for Walk Duckney and the psychedelic duck so that we can potentially get the code to unlock the duck door. So there is actually some gameplay going on here, friends. Like, whilst we're talking, we're basically padding for duck time. So Scotty, I hadn't seen that, but the console market as a whole is just in such a strange space right now. Like, of all three teams, currently Sony is the only one aiming for, like, the bigger, better hardware. Like, Nintendo's doing what Nintendo does, which is the same thing everybody else did 10 years ago, and winning. And Microsoft's moving into a platform business model. Like, I actually did see a PS5 on a store shelf the other day in the wild, which was fascinating. To duck or not to duck? It's a bee! Oh, come on, friends. It's a bee pun or a duck pun. You got this. I believe in you. I believe in you. Greylock's been enjoying... Excuse me. Greylock's been enjoying scalper prices on PS5s going lower and lower. Varvel's Beck. Oh, Bealteen? Or... This bee is a duck. D. Fly to the Ducklebee. Where's your A-game, friends? This can't be the same team that came up with Banksy's True Identity, Ruscone P. Jangles, Mally Berry, Duck Around and Find Out, and Uniqualaker. Buzz Aldrake. See? There we go! That would have also worked for a space duck. There we go. Back of the net. Alright. But anyway, back to them video games. God. I'm definitely missing the structure of E3 right now. I really want a mojito. Yeah, you know what, Sage? It was unfair of me to ambush everybody with asking for wordplay. Because at least, like, back in the day, it would be much easier to structure when good games were going to get announced and what was going to be happening and where it was going to go down. And yeah, Nick, I'm there with you. Like, I'm missing old E3 for just how fucking chaotic this is. But, you know, the problem was, old E3 didn't embrace this. I know I've said this before, but just in case there's anybody new here, like, anytime you see those massive press conferences and those huge, like, media shows, those weren't part of E3. They were adjacent. Like, you didn't get into those press conferences by being an E3 attendee. You had to get a separate, like, you had to get a pass from Microsoft or whoever. Like, hell, the whole reason those existed were initially to be supplements to E3, and they became their own media shows. Oh, so Greylock, I didn't run any panels last year, but I was involved in a couple. So I was part of the Make a Game in an Hour panel last year, where I got to be the heckler of great renown, which was very fun. I have been potentially included in a couple of panels, but it's going to be a while before we know. But yeah, it is interesting that I guess Microsoft are saving all their big hits for this weekend, right? You know, and they have a special segment just dedicated to Starfield. Which I can't imagine that... You know what? I'm just going to say it just in case. But Starfield is the next title from Bethesda that is pitching itself as what if Skyrim in space. Now, Skadi, it would be lovely to hear about more Fable stuff, but you know, hope is a dangerous drug, you know what I mean? Who's that? Oh! It's one of the nesting ducks. In before it's Fallout 76 in space. I mean, I'd like us to be wrong, Skadi, but I think that you are right, and we're just going to get another teaser. Because the previous one was just a poor fairy getting eaten. It would be great if they brought back, you know, some of the Lionhead core and Molyneux for new Fable. Because, like, last we saw, Molyneux got suckered into the whole Nuftus crowd. Alright, as an aside, friends, one of the funniest fucking things I saw today, like, before we got this started, I'm sipping on my coffee, and I saw an advert for an NFT Web3 metaverse convention. And the whole pitch of it was like, was it the crypto winter has come, but let's survive it together. Like, and it was like panels and after parties and all these huge events, and I was like, oh my god, this is what blind madness looks like. Oh, yeah, Lagmeister, the when's it likely to drop a Rama between Fable, Beyond Good and Evil 2, Half-Life 3, and Silksong. Greylark, I'd have to check to see what the last official statement was. But yeah, Beyond Good and Evil is in a bad way. And I think it's been one of the ones hit because Ubisoft's been... A lot of Ubisoft studios have been bad times bears. We know that Skull and Bones was like delayed and delayed and delayed. However, the Ubisoft presser is going to be on Monday. So we'll see what's going. Nick is saying that the rumor has it that Beyond Good and Evil is very dead. I've heard that too, but yeah. So Skull and Bones had a fucking nightmare development. There was some closed NDA'd tests recently, and all the feedback that leaked out of that was bad. And from what we heard, because it was Ubisoft Shanghai that was making Skull and Bones, and they've been having a bad time. I was actually talking about this with friends the other night. So Nick, to my knowledge, Skull and Bones hasn't been officially cancelled. Like, Skull and Bones is just been delayed again. Because, like, they've been selling pre-order bullshit. Which, again, don't buy anything on pre-order. Actually, as a fun aside to that, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is now refunding pre-orders at request. Because it's been so long. But yeah, jumping back. Yeah. A lot of the Ubisoft studios have been having a nightmare of a time. And a lot of them are nightmare places to work, so we're kind of waiting. Now, if we were going to hear about it, it would be on Monday. Oh, and Greylock, I don't know if you saw the news, but they actually did give a full-on, I wouldn't say statement, but a full-on breakdown of what happened with Redfall. So we actually know what happened now, which was they were being pushed into making it a free-to-play looter shooter. It was going to be a games of service free-to-play game, despite the fact that the team in Arcane Austin wanted to make it a single-player or a co-op game. They begged to be able to turn it into a single-player game. They were denied. And apparently, Microsoft had no oversight on it. They just left them to it. But what had happened is that the team making Redfall had already been kind of ignored by management and been given, like, impossible tasks. Yeah. I was going to do a whole deconstruction because I didn't think the dev team were going to be allowed to talk about it. But they did. So I'm currently trying to work out if we can rearrange that video into being more a... Alright. Excuse me. If they had been able to make Redfall a single-player game, here's what it could have been. Here's where it would have been great, you know? Because no one sets out to make a bad game, except for a handful of people, but... With Redfall, I really feel like there's an alternate universe where that is a single or co-op game and it slaps. And yeah, so Lost Flowers, that was the other thing that dropped today, was another Persona 3 remake and a trailer for Persona 5 Tactics. Atlas had a big old leak today. Oh, wow. Sorry. I have an overheaty spaghetti. Okay, friendos. So, before we do credits and whatnot, does anyone have any last thoughts on today's Summer Games Fest and what's going to be happening? Again, thank you all for joining for a day of, like, snark, banter, surprises, and some fascinating moments. Because I'm starting to overheat, I'll be honest with you. I'm just going to put my head under a cold tap for a bit. But if you have any thoughts and feels you want to throw in, now's the time. But I will say, I have Nick from Question, I have Star Saint Germain of Hollow Vista fame, and myself and Fiona tomorrow for Sea of Thieves. So we're basically going to be using Sea of Thieves tomorrow as kind of like an extended chat show. We're just going to talk about the gaming news, what's going on, and kind of see how it's all coming together at the moment, you know? So yeah, if you all have got any thoughts or feels or things you want to chat about before we wrap this stream on up, I'm just saving the infinity pool, so that next time we come back here, we get all of our ducks, and we get a step closer towards getting the door open. I mean, I know I'm being super casual and only doing a 6-hour stream today. I know I'm slacking in my old age. But thank you. And we'll have to see which friendos are streaming at the moment. Again, I'm gutted I missed out on the inscription cards. Apparently, at one point, Devolver Digital was selling faux cards from Inscription that look really good. Probably contain a whole bunch of secrets or some cool shit like that. Okay, yeah, we got a lot of friendos streaming, so fuck yeah. Oh no, so Greylog, it's just like the ambient warmth at the moment. It's not quite warm enough to warrant putting on the air conditioning, but it's just warm enough that, yeah, after 6 hours, I'm starting to melt a little bit. Just a little. Yes, we have discussed the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer a fair wedge. Currently, the ongoing joke is that the 2-disc announcement is quite funny, but like it looks feckin' great. And Lagmeister, if I remember, I will use the Adventures of Duckaroo Banzai for our next stream, our next Plastic Duck stream, because like I said, we know how to get into the door now. We just need to get the right ducks, and we don't have them. "1,000 years ago." Okay, friendos. But what I will say, if you want to keep chatting about the Final Fantasy stuff, hey, that's why we got the Discord. Okay, friendos. So I'm going to roll credits. And then Jetman J is currently doing some System Shock. And Jay's been raiding into us so much, so I would really appreciate it if you don't mind sticking around so we can bring the thunder, alright? Jay's got like 10 people hanging out. We can bring 60, which is a pretty baller move. First up, obviously, thank you everybody for coming and hanging out for both snarks and banter and silliness. It's been a really good day. You'll make getting up early genuinely enjoyable. Thank you all for everything you threw in, be it like subs, bits, donations, what have you. It struck me during today's stream that, hi, as the Longship, we've outlived E3, and that's a powerful thing to be able to say. Oh yeah, no, Greylark, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add, dear friends. Just thank you. I fucking love doing this. And in years past, you know, before E3 Bowl, you know, I'd be snarking along on Twitter, but instead I got to just chat along with you lot, which is, frankly, a lot better. I am sad that we didn't get to continue with E3 Bowl, as this year it would have been E3 versus Key Lee. But, friends, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. And as much as I said I'm missing the structure, like, E3 had many, many years to change its format. It had been told repeatedly, this is bad. And then there was the year that it fucking doxed all the journos. Well, alright. You can only warn someone so much, you know? Anyway, and on to proper thank yous. So again, everybody who's chucked in, like, the reason that I get to be here and the reason that I get to snark along and have fun with this is because you lot help keep this operation upright. So, like, seriously, thank you. And as you know, bits and donations are the biggest thing for keeping this thing going. So to Shackle Draconis, Big Saxy, Bacon Avenger and Asari Green Fire, J Post and Phil Sun, Quasimoto and Vanderbeast, you are all legends. Thank you kindly. Your moderator today was not just Caffeine and Lizzie T. Powell, but also Rhymes with Moose. And those that subbed, resubbed, or were hunted by House Carl! I would like to thank Navalis Chaunerus, the Artipo, Earl Koenig, Snuggly Beric, and Aperios Unlimited came on over specifically for Snarkfest 2020. 3. God, time is wobbly. All right. Terror, Fred. Right. So yeah, we're going to head on over to Jetman J. who's currently on the System Shock remake. As for us, the current plan is just to do Sea of Thieves tomorrow. But if I'm able to get up for Wholesome Direct, wait, no, Wholesome Direct was Saturday morning. All right, if I'm able to get up for Wholesome Direct, I will. But that's because like Dice Goddess, who's one of our new squad, has a game releasing there, so it'd be real cool to be able to be like, yo, this is your video game. Yeah. Friends, I think that's the long and short of it. Yeah, I'm going to cool off and, I don't know, I might start clipping out pieces for my next Gundam painting project. Yeah. Like I said, friends, that's the overall long and short of it. Yeah. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening. Treat yourself like you were relaxing after a hard day at E3. You know, get a cooling beverage that suits your palate. Go to an ill-advised club at 2 o'clock in the morning. Actually, no, don't do any of that. That's a terrible idea. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow for Sea of Thieves, friends. So from my ducking household to yours, good night all. Why do you not put up with me? I assume it's because you'll get like a care in the community voucher. Anyway. Onward!